Hiya, welcome to another episode of Remember Me, the stories of our babies. I am your host, Chelsey, and in today's episode, I will be talking all about my son, Eli, and letting you know his story.
Which I'm really looking forward to just talk about him because there is nothing, honestly, I love doing more than talking about him. So he was born on the 13th of December 2021. His due date was actually the 29th of November. So I was 41 weeks and 5 days when I went in to be induced. And it was then we were told that he no longer had a heartbeat and he would be born still. So obviously that was a very traumatic and just awful time. So I found out I was pregnant in April of that year, and we were so excited. So I've a bit of a background about me. So me and my husband have been together for about 10 years at this time, and obviously everyone's asking, when are you going to have a kid? And it was one of them things that we'd always spoke about it. We always knew he wanted kids, but we just didn't know when. And I was always like, oh, I want to be married first. I want to have a house because we lived in a flat at the time. So I was quite like, I wanted all these things first. And anyway, we planned to get married in 2020 in Turkey. But then COVID happened, and obviously everything, as you know, went just didn't happen. I was a bit like annoyed and depressed, and because we was obviously in lockdown, and I just felt like COVID had like a hold on our life, and I was just like, oh. Dean was like, he really wanted kids, and I was like, yeah, but I really want to get married first. Anyway, so we decided just to go for it, and so we fell pregnant. So it wasn't like lockdown, but there was still like travel restrictions and stuff like that. So I found out in April that I was pregnant. I think I was about a week late on my period. I just felt so bloated and very nauseous. I didn't really have any sickness with him. It was mainly just the nauseous. And then so I'd done a test, and obviously we were so excited. I think what did I say? I think it was like, oh shit. Because we were just so shocked, that it happened so quick. In fact, Dean was so shocked that he made me do about another 5 pregnancy tests. So, just to make sure that I was definitely pregnant. We kept it quiet. I think we just told our parents. I actually took the pregnancy test and put it in a box and gave it to our parents. And so they were so excited, bless them. I think they'd been waiting for a long, long time for us to have babies. And then obviously it was just them we told, and then we kept it quiet until the 12-week scan. And we went to Dean's sister's house. We've got 2 nieces and a nephew on her side. And we basically just went there, and we had a vest made that said Baby Tookie on it, which is our surname. And we just basically showed them the vest. And obviously, I mean, the girls are teenagers, so they was like screaming. I was so excited. Yeah, it was just a really, really happy, special time for all of us, especially after the whole COVID thing. It kind of put a dampener on everything. So it was like light at the end of the tunnel. Everyone was so excited. That was nice. As soon as we found out, I mean, I had to stop Dean buying stuff because he just wanted to buy everything. Bless him. Like he was just so excited. Yeah, and then I think we had an early scan to find out his gender. So I was 16 weeks pregnant then. And obviously we found out he was a boy, which was a bit of a shock because you hear all of these, old wives' tales about the different symptoms that point to being a girl or a boy. And everything I had pointed to Eli being a girl. So I was craving sweet stuff. I didn't really have sickness. I just had like nauseous feeling quite a lot, but no sickness or anything. Yeah, so I was shocked, but I was so excited because deep down I'd always wanted a boy first. I just like the idea of him looking out for his little sister, if he had a little sister in the future, of course. Yeah, so I was so pleased. Dean was so excited. And then, yeah, he bought so much stuff for him. I did keep telling him off because he'd come home from work basically every day with something new for Eli, clothes and just stuff like that. He was, bless him, so excited. Yeah, so we obviously found out we was having a boy. So we decided to have a gender reveal, and we had it at Dean's parents in their garden, because it was quite warm, and so it was all right. And obviously it was still all a bit weird with the COVID stuff, so it was like you were allowed to meet but it was outside or something stupid like that. But yeah, so we had a little party in his parents' garden, and obviously it was only me and Dean that knew because we couldn't wait until the gender reveal. We had to just find out there and then in the scan room. Um, which was lucky actually that we decided to do that because it was obvious straight away. Like as soon as the sonographer put his picture on the screen, he was like, "Okay, it's definitely a boy." But yeah, no, it was just so happy. Yeah, so obviously we was keeping it quiet for a good week, I think, until we had this reveal, and we were setting up, and I actually gave it away before we even done the reveal. I'm not even sure if they realised because I think we borrowed Dean's uncle's gazebo, and I don't know, they were saying about the mess, or I was like, oh yeah, it'll end up getting all blue powder over it. And then my brother-in-law looked at me and was like, and I was like, I don't think anyone else realised that, but he definitely did. He didn't say anything, bless him. But yeah, no. So we had a gender reveal in the garden, and everyone was just so excited. I'm so glad we done. We've got loads of special memories, and I'm really glad we done that actually. Yeah, I mean, we had like a confetti. I don't know. It was like a confetti and a powder like thing, and it just obviously went everywhere, and everyone was screaming, and yeah, it was just really really happy, exciting time for all of the family. So we decided that we wanted Lion King in Eli's nursery. I just saw a really nice like quilt set with like a matching teepee and a Moses basket and everything, and it was from Asda. Yeah, so that's why Lion King and Simba represents Eli to me. He had so much Lion King stuff. Like yeah, he there was just so much of it. And we like painted his name on, like, I got some letters, like cardboard letters from Hobbycraft, and I painted them, and we had like Lion King pictures on them. Yeah, so everything was just Lion King, from the start, really. Because me and Dean have always been quite big Disney fans, so yeah, we definitely went all out. He had like so where we was in our flat, it used to be our spare room, his nursery. So we already had the one wall painted black. So we kept it the same, and I put his name up in white on the black wall, and it actually looked really amazing. And like I put like the fake vine leaves like around the curtain pole, and we had like Zazu like hanging from the curtain pole. Yeah, and he had like an animal mobile. It was all like jungle themed, and yeah, he had a nice nursery, to be fair. And I mean, when I say he had everything, I even had like the nappy caddy like all set up ready for him. Like I was so organised. With I mean, everything was done, and I just took everything so seriously, and just wanted to make sure that he had everything. Yeah, so we had we didn't really go away a lot that year because if I remember rightly, we weren't allowed to travel abroad still. So we had one holiday, we used to go away every year and take my nan away. She'd never been abroad. She'd never wanted to. So we used to go on like a UK staycation in hire like a cottage or something. So the year I was pregnant with Eli, we went to Minehead, and it was actually the last holiday we had with my nan because she died the following year. So I have such special memories of that holiday. We was just all together. It was just a really happy time for all of us. You know, we were so excited about Eli, and obviously my nan was there. Like, it was just so special. And we have such special memories. And me and Dean used to go out in the evening to the arcade and win all the teddies for Eli. I think we won like the whole Winnie the Pooh set, and then obviously loads of Lion King teddies we was winning, because Dean's a little bit obsessed with the grab machines. So yeah, he had, I think even like before he was born, his cot was practically full of Lion King teddies. Yeah, so yeah, no, that was holds such special memories. And we actually went on a baby moon, me and Dean, but again, we couldn't travel, so we decided to visit Stonehenge because we've always wanted to go. It's like it was on our bucket list sort of thing, and it was just an easy sort of place to go, and we had such a lovely time. And it's quite like spiritual Stonehenge, like it's and I just think, for some reason, I just felt, and then we actually went back there after Eli died. I just felt so close to him. Like I don't know, if you've been there, but there's like so many crows just around. And it's like an eerie, spiritual, but really, really like peaceful place. So that would always sort of hold special memories for me, and for Dean as well. But yeah, so we other than that, we didn't really go anywhere else. We had a lot of days at the beach. The beach is my favourite place, and I just know Eli, it would be his favourite place as well. So I just, took the dog, and we just had lovely walks, and it was just a really special time. So I had a baby shower for Eli. It was like jungle themed, obviously, Lion King and his jungle room. It's just like your normal baby shower. We played games, and I had like loads of signs made. So I work at a graphics company, so I got quite a few done there. So we had like, like when you melt the chocolate in the nappies and it's like smell, like what chocolate it is. And it was a really good day actually. We just done so many games, and it was really, really special. And what I'd actually done is asked people, rather than buying like gifts, because like I say, Eli had everything. I asked everyone to bring a book, and like write a little message in the book, from them for him to read when he was older, which I thought was just a really special idea. Some people didn't understand the assignment and didn't actually write in the book, but some did. So I'll obviously always keep them in a special place. I just thought that was a really nice idea. So my pregnancy was just really amazing. I had no problems at all. Everything was amazing, like all the appointments absolutely fine. They had no worries. He was just really healthy, and I done everything to the book. I took everything so seriously. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't, I think I even limited the amount of coffee that I drank, and I do love coffee. And I was literally like having, I think it was like 1 cup year round or something stupid. But I literally cared. I was just doing everything by the book, and took everything so seriously. Not because I was worried. It's just, I don't know. I just felt, obviously, like you do. You just want to look after your baby and your body whilst you got your baby in there. And I actually probably looked after my body more with him in me rather than I do on a normal day. We just had a really good pregnancy. Everything was amazing. I think he was head down, ready at like 36 weeks to come out. He was, yeah, bless him. So no, we didn't have any problems. You know, everything was completely fine. I done the hypno birthing classes that online, and yeah, like we had not. I don't think we had one hiccup. You know. So yeah, obviously, when we found out, so I was obviously to be induced. I went in on the 11th of December. And obviously when they said, I just couldn't believe it. Like I thought it was just a joke, you know, a nightmare, but it literally was. And I was just sort of expecting to wake up, and yeah, like it was just like there are no words, right? It just crushes you, you know. And I mean, I didn't give birth to him until 2 days later. So obviously, I was still pregnant for 2 days, and you can like feel them moving still. So I kept thinking that he was alive, and there was just going to be a big mistake, and I was going to give birth to him, and he was going to be absolutely fine. Obviously, I wish, but that did not happen. Yeah, and I was just expecting him, you know, just to wake up. But yeah, so I gave birth to him on the 13th. It was 5:33 in the morning, and he weighed 713 pounds. So he wasn't exactly chubby, but he was very like tall, bless him. Beautiful. He was just so beautiful. He has dark hair, blue eyes, and his feet, I mean, they were huge. But yeah, he was just perfect. Like, I was just, you know, we spent about 2.5 to 3 days in hospital, I believe, and we just spent the whole time, like, I couldn't stop staring at him. I mean, I didn't sleep for them 3 days. I didn't want to waste any time. But yeah, I just couldn't stop staring at him. I just thought he is the most beautiful little boy I've ever seen in my whole life, and I was just so desperate to have him. But yeah, and I mean, so in the previous episode, it was mentioned I basically had a dummy in his mouth, and honestly, he just looked like he was sleeping, like you wouldn't believe, you know, he was just perfect. Yeah, so we had 3 days at the hospital with him, before they discharged me. Sorry, it wasn't 3 days, it was two. It was two, yeah. So it was the 13th, the 14th, and I came home on the 15th. Yeah, so my birthday's on the 16th. Right, that's right. So yeah, so the hospital didn't really want me to stay on my birthday because I was like, oh, you know, it's your birthday. You don't want to remember that. As if I cared about my birthday at the time. But anyway, yeah, so we had the most amazing time. So my family met him, and Dean's family did as well. They were there literally after I gave birth. They were sort of waiting outside, bless them. Yes, they all met. My brother drove down from Warrington to meet him, which is probably about a 4 hour drive. So I'm like Surrey based. Yeah, so he came, Dean's sister, and brother all met him. Yeah, he's just so loved. You know, even then, like, everyone wanted to sort of meet him, and he was just the most beautiful, beautiful little boy. And I mean, he's still so loved now. I mean, I am really lucky, in the sense of both of our families are so good with, you know, remembering him and doing things in his memory and talking about him. So I know how lucky I am in that aspect. But yeah, so we just spent them, you know, a few days just singing to him. We got a box, like a memory box from Louis, a charity, and it had in there, you know, we can get we got like his hand and foot casts, in a frame. They took photos of him, and like I had to put them on the little memory stick. And there was like a teddy for him and one for us to keep. Yeah, so they really, that box, if it wasn't for that, we'd literally be walking out empty handed. So that box, I mean, it's still now, it means everything to me, you know. But yeah, so in this book, in this box there was a book called Guess How Much I Love You, which is quite a known of book. But yeah, so we read that to him, and it was just so fitting, that book, you know. Yeah, so obviously we sang songs to him. So one song that I listened to all the time when I was pregnant, it's called Peter Pan by Chelsey Ballerini. And I just used to sing it all the time when I was pregnant. I just loved it. But then, yeah, listening back to that song, like after he died, I was like, oh my gosh, this is Eli. Like, obviously, Peter Pan, so obviously, you know the story, you know, Neverland, and he's a lost boy, he doesn't grow up. And I'm like, that's Eli, that he is my Peter Pan. And this song, if you ever listen to it, you'll know what I mean. It is just the most fitting song. We actually had it played at his funeral. But yeah, so anyway, so we sung, you know, that, and Dean actually made a playlist. I don't know if it was whilst he was in a hospital or if it was after, but we both had a playlist through, like, and yeah, he was just playing like beautiful songs to him. Yeah, it was a special time that we had together. So yeah, them days in hospital were just so special. And we had the chaplain come and like do a blessing for Eli, with all of our family there. So that was really lovely. You know, she said a poem and she gave us all like the LED candles. And that was a really, really special moment, you know. We sang a song to him, and I've actually just remembered this, so that's quite nice because I completely forgot. I think it was is it Ellie Goulding? Oh, How Long Will I Love You? That's it. We all sung it, and it was really beautiful. But yeah, no. So, and actually, I just remember something else when we was getting ready to leave Eli at the hospital. One of these candles, we looked out the window for whatever reason. There was literally like a bar on a window, so you couldn't open it properly. But I opened it, and there was one of these candles just sitting on the roof. Like, so it was on top, like you look out the window and there was a roof, and there was just this candle on the roof of the building. I was like, that is so crazy. But it was actually on. And this was like the day after, I think, that she came. And it was just the most craziest thing. So I remember thinking, how is this on? Like, wait, how long has this been here? Like, what? Like, it was just so baffling. But yeah, no, I kept that candle, and I actually had them. I didn't turn them off. They was literally on my bedside table, just left on. I think they lasted on for a good few months actually, after he died. But yeah, no, it was really special memories we had. We obviously had that at the hospital. Obviously we had to say goodbye, it's just the worst feeling. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably know that feeling, you know. It's like they're your baby, right? And you feel like you should be taking them home with you, and instead you're leaving them at the hospital with all these strangers, and it just feels so wrong and so, it's just the worst feeling. But yeah, so whilst I was at the hospital, I got Dean to go and get an outfit that I wanted him to wear. Like, even though I had all like the hospital bags and everything all packed, I wanted like certain toys for him to have. There was books with his name on that I'd got given from his baby shower. So I think it was his nan, so Dean's mum and auntie, got these books made with his name in. I think there was a Peppa Pig one, and yeah, there was like a nursery rhyme one. So I got Dean to get them, and I actually got him to bring photos, like I think there was a photo of the dog, photo of me and Dean. I was like, just to keep with him. So we don't, so he knows who his mummy and daddy and his family are, right? And we wrote like a little letter to him and kept it with him. And I think he had one of the he had the candles like all around him. We put them all around him because I was like, I don't want it to be dark for him. And yeah, it was so hard. And like now I'm remembering all of this and thinking back, it's just so surreal, and I still cannot believe that actually happened. Yeah, so obviously we left him at the hospital, and So that was the 15th. And then obviously the days after were just, non-existent really. I was just sitting like a zombie like the whole time, and we didn't actually have his funeral until February, which I spoke about in the last episode. But yeah, so obviously it was a long wait. We had to wait, and I did see him because I'd got a new outfit for him to wear for his funeral after, but I couldn't stay long that time. He had changed quite significantly since the first time, or since we left him at the hospital. So that was quite a hard moment, because in my head he was just going to be exactly the same how I left him, because he just looked like he was asleep, So yeah, that was quite a lot for my head to get around at the time. But yeah, so we had his funeral, and it was just the most beautiful day. Like, it was so special. So I had like an open invitation for all family and friends, and anyone who would have met Eli if he was alive, I wanted there. It was like me introducing him to everyone, So we had the Peter Pan song, like I said. We had another song called Never Alone by Lady Antebellum. And we had another song called See You Again, which is by Carrie Underwood. Hence, we are big American fans, if you can't tell. I bet all American singers. But yeah, no, so it was a beautiful service. We had the same chaplain that done the blessing for Eli at the hospital. We also had her do his funeral, so that was really special. She was really lovely. So we had after the service, me and Dean done a reading actually in like a poem. So that was really special. And then after the service, we done like a balloon release. So, or like me, Dean, and all our like the nieces and the nephews let go blue love heart balloons. And then we actually had a dove release as well. Which had like the dove had like a little blue ribbon on, and yeah, I literally had him in my hand and let go, and yeah, it was really beautiful. We done a poem as just before we done like the release and stuff. So yeah, no, it was a really special time. I got everyone to be really colourful, and then we had the wake at a local pub. We had like got food and stuff, but I'd got a cake made for him actually, and he had his own like cake, had his easel with his picture on, which we had at the day as well. And it was such a special day. I'm sure he would have been very proud of his mummy and daddy. We did good there, and it was hard. I mean, I've never had to arrange a funeral, right? And I just wanted everything to be perfect. And before actually his funeral, I was just constantly going to the funeral directors, because I'd done a few things to give to him to put in his casket with him. So I got all of like loads of family photos printed off, and I made a little booklet, and I wrote on the back of the photos like who everyone was, like, oh, this is Nanny and Granddad, and yeah, and I gave that to him, and there was photos of us all together at the hospital, and I just wanted something for him, to remember us by, right? And then obviously at the hospital, we got a lock of hair from him. So I actually put my own lock of hair. I cut a bit of my hair off, and I put it in one of his teddy bears, and it was my way of saying, I'm sorry I took your hair, have some mums. Which seems absolutely, some people would be like, what the hell is wrong with a girl? But it was just, anything to get me through. I mean, I'd bought him a new blanket, and I bought myself the same blanket. It had his name on it, and it had stars on it. He had a grey one at the hospital. That was, I think my sister-in-law bought that for him, obviously before he died. So yeah, he had that with him, but I wanted to keep it. hence I bought another one to replace that one. So I've got that one, and then the one he's got, the blue one, I got another one done to keep as well. So we've got like the same blanket, and obviously I've got the original one that he had on. And I've kept like all of his clothes in like Ziploc bags. So even now, if I open them, like they still smell of Eli, and it's just, and I hate opening them because I'm so scared that one day I'm going to open it too much and the smell's going to go. It really frightens me. But yeah, at the moment they do still smell of Eli, and it's just amazing. But yeah, so anyway, so we had his funeral. I can't remember what else I'd bought crystals. I was really into crystals at the time, and I'd bought I can't remember what crystal it was, but it was one particular one that was like, a really spiritual one. And I can't remember the name. That's really going to annoy me. But yeah, so we had one each, and I was like, I always took it out with me. It was always in my pocket, and it was like my way of connecting with him, knowing he had that as well. And I got like a Neverland, I think it was a key ring. So Eli would have been a Sagittarius, like his mama. Obviously, being a December baby. So so the Sagittarius is like curious and energetic, and is a natural explorer, apparently. So we are optimistic extroverts, according to Google, anyway. But yeah, so it's funny because I've always Eli looked quite like his daddy. And his dad is like complete opposite to me. He's quite quiet and introverted. So I kind of thought maybe he'd have his personality, but obviously being a Sagittarius, I think he could have been a bit more like me with, being an extrovert and stuff. But yeah, no, oh gosh, I just love him so much. He's just amazing. I think that Eli would be a bit similar to me in personality, definitely an explorer, and I do think he'd have a big love of animals, like me. So my dog Daisy, I've got a beagle. I've actually got another beagle now as well. But yeah, she used to lay on my tummy all the time when I was pregnant. And actually, so obviously my mum and dad came to the hospital quite early. And it was the first time my neighbour actually heard her crying. She never, she's so quiet when you leave her. She's so good. But yeah, and even my neighbour was like, I knew something was wrong because I've never ever heard Daisy like that. So that's her name. And she was like, oh, if I had a kid, I would have gone and seen if she was all right. Like she was crying so much. And even like after Eli died, like obviously we were all really like down and depressed and stuff. But even the dog walker was like, she's just not herself. Like she just was so down. And it's crazy how like even animals are impacted. Like it's just, and when I got pregnant again with my little girl, she wouldn't go near me. She just would not go near me. It was almost as if to say, oh no, not this again. I can't cope. But yeah, no, now she's born, Dakota, she's nearly a year now. Oh, sorry, she's past the year. She's about 15 months now. Yeah, they're like, they're absolutely fine. Daisy's really good with her and stuff. But yeah, it was almost like, oh, not this again. She just wouldn't come near me. But yeah, so I do think Eli would have been a dog lover, like his mama. But yeah, and that's what I imagine. I imagine, he'd be really kind-hearted and just love animals, really, and love, I don't know. You imagine all sorts, right? You like to think all sorts, but I do think that that's what he would have been like. So me and Dean decided to get married. We actually got married 6 months after Eli was born, and we arranged it in February, I think. So it was like 4 months we had to plan this whole wedding. But yeah, no, it was good for me. It was like my distraction, I mean, we'd been engaged at a time for 8 years. So yeah, it was definitely a long time coming. And yeah, it just helped my brain keep busy. Just making sure everything was done. And yeah, it was good. It was a nice thing to focus on. Um, and I was so desperate to obviously have the same surname as Eli. Yeah, so hence why I was so quick. But yeah, I made sure I included Eli as well as much as possible. I wanted to get his ashes in my wedding ring, but we just didn't have enough time to get one made. But yeah, so we had his easel up that we had at his day, which was his funeral. I called it Eli's day rather than Eli's funeral. It just sounds a little bit nicer. And we had like his bear, and we've got like an aching arms bear, and I got like a knitted jumper made with his name on it. So we had that. We've done another dove release as well, like in honor of him, and it was a really lovely day. Obviously we had his picture up. I actually done like a name plate thing for him as well. Um, yeah, and then our wedding favours, we had the charity for Louis. We had like pin badges from them of our wedding favours. Um, yeah, so I made sure I included Eli as much as possible, and yeah, I think we did him good. I had his picture on my bouquet, so he walked down the aisle with me essentially, and yeah, so that was nice. But I was just so desperate to have the same surname as him. So yeah, but the day after our wedding, daytime we just look out the window, right? And I looked out the window and I was just like, wow. So we was obviously in the flat, we was on the top floor. So the sky was always beautiful anyway. But this particular time, it the sky looked like a baby, right? And when I looked at Eli's baby scan after, I was like, that is the same. And I'd read a book, and it basically said that rather than just asking for a sign, you have to be specific in what you ask for. So I remember I was asking Eli to send me a dolphin, and I'd taken a video of this sky for some reason. And then when I looked back on the video, you can just see like a puff of smoke, but it looked like a dolphin, like when the dolphin's jumping out of the sea. It literally looked like that going over this baby, like the cloud. It was just incredible. But yeah, he sent us so many signs that I could probably sit here and speak about the signs he sent us for hours. um, but yeah, they are just some incredible things. And I know he's with me still. There's certain things that I think, yeah, no, that's definitely Eli. And it's so lovely when I get a sign from him. I just think it just validates the fact that he's here, right? I know I can't see him, but he's with me. Um, yeah, so there's been other things as well. Like I had a dream visitation from him. So it was probably he'd have been about 5 months old, and in my dream, I was feeding him in his bouncer chair that we had in his room. Um, and he was blowing raspberries at me. Anyway, and in my dream, he blew one so big and it went on my face. And I actually woke up flinching, like with my eyes, because it went in my eyes. And then when I wiped my eyes, it was all wet. Like it was the maddest thing. And there's been a couple of other things as well. Like I had a dream. I've made a scrapbook with all of Eli's hospital pictures and like all my pregnancy pictures and stuff. And in the dream, I was looking through this scrapbook, and there was all pictures of Eli, like growing up until he was about a teenager. Um, anyway, and then I don't know, I didn't really think much of it. And then it was only when Dean had a dream, literally the day after, and he was telling me, and he said, "Oh, so his sister was out for dinner with Eli, and she'd taken a photo of him and sent it to Dean." And he said, in this photo, he said he was wearing the high school uniform that Dean had. But the way he described Eli, so he was a teenager in his dream, the way he described Eli was the exact same way I saw him in the photos in my dream. It was just mad. But yeah, no, there are so many things. So like I associate magpies with Eli. So we always used to see them when I was pregnant. And before we knew he was a boy, we'd always used to count, it's like one for sorrow, two for a joy, three for a girl, four for a boy. So it was just to count like the magpies. Yeah. And then I just saw him all the time. And obviously after he died, we saw quite a lot as well. But I didn't really tell anyone because, you think, you don't want people to think you're crazy, right? But I remember being told by Dean's mum. So Dean's mum used to look after our nephew, who was about 2 at the time when Eli died. And she just said, "Oh, look, Charlie is his name. Oh, look, there's a magpie over there." And he just turned around to her and said, "Oh, yeah, look, it's Eli." Sorry, he used to call him Eli before he could speak properly. He was like, "Oh, it's Eli at this magpie." And I was like, and she told me that, and I was like, my jaw just dropped because we'd never mentioned to anyone that we associate magpies with Eli. And yeah, it was just like the craziest things. But like my nephew, even now talks about Eli all the time. And I just think when he died, he was 2, right? So how does he even remember? Like, he didn't meet him. And things he comes out with, I just think it's so incredible. Like, I know that Eli's here, But the things that he said, I mean, there was one time he was watching a random video on YouTube and Dean's mum asked, "What are you watching? Why are you watching that?" And he turned around and said, "Oh, Eli sent it to me to watch." And I just thought, wow. So I was like, next time I saw him, I was like, "Oh, I hear Eli sent you a video to watch." And he was like, yeah, he sent it from up there. And I was like, that is, yeah, like, it's just so, and like feathers. So we have a garden, we call it Eli's garden, but it's essentially, it's a cemetery with a children's like memorial statue. And we've got his name on there, and there's obviously like other children's names. And we've like basically taken up part of this garden. And we've got all of Eli's like ornaments and stuff. And me, Dean, and both of our mums were there. And it was not long after he died. It was, we'd only just got the plaque up of his name, I believe. But all of a sudden, this white feather came from nowhere and literally landed on our head. And it was just like, oh, wow. Like, and we were all looking up thinking, where on earth did that come from? It was just, yeah, like there's so many things. Yeah, and it's crazy. But yeah, no, so we get quite a few. We see his name quite often. So obviously Eli's not exactly a name, but we see it in like number plates and I always see angel numbers. So his funeral was actually on the 22nd of February 2022. So it's 22222, right, which is angel numbers. And I always see that number, always, or 1313. And obviously he was born on the 13th. So yeah, I always get like little signs and I'm like, oh, hello, Eli. Like you always, thank him. I always thank him for any signs that he gives. But yeah, so we've been in our new house for probably 6 months now. And we've actually got 2 magpies in a nest in our garden. And I often think, often say hello, morning, Eli, and it's just really nice, getting these glimmers, shall we say. So Eli's full name is Eli James Arthur Tookie. So before he was born, he was just going to be Eli James. So Eli, it was Dean that suggested it years before, after an American footballer, Eli Manning, who plays for the New York Giants. And I was like, do you know what? I love that name. It's quite different, right? I mean, it's probably quite common in America, but we're not in America. But yeah, I just loved it, from that minute. And James is my granddad. And James is also the middle name of my brother as well. But yeah, so he was just going to be called Eli James. And then when I found out he died, I said to Dean, I'd like to have Arthur in his name as well. So Arthur is Dean's granddad. So it was kind of like a nod to his granddad, like look after him as well, And it was obviously nice for Dean and his family as well to have his granddad included in his name. But yeah, since Eli was born, I think he's changed me so much, you know. Obviously, I call him my little lion, right? So he's brave, he's strong. And I honestly believe when he was born, he gave me some of his strength and some of his bravery because, like, it sounds silly, but the old me couldn't survive my baby dying, right? Hence why I think he's given me his strength and his bravery to survive because, yeah, like I was quite weak before Eli. And yeah, I just think he's definitely passed that on to me. You know, he's changed me in so many ways. I appreciate life much more now, which has taken me a long, long time to get here. I might add, like, obviously at the beginning, if you're in the beginning of your journey, you don't see a light. It's just impossible, right? But yeah, he's definitely made me appreciate and be more grateful to everyone around me, and for the experiences that we have. Yeah, and like before, I was always sort of focused on like work and always stressing about things that just weren't important at the time. They were obviously to me. But in hindsight, they really weren't, you know. And yeah, I don't really do that as much now, if at all. Like, I just don't because I just think life's short. You know, we don't know what's going to happen, so you just got to live your life whilst you can. But yeah, I'm really grateful for Eli for teaching me and for guiding me and giving me strength. And I always say, you know, I say goodnight to him still every night. And I always say, like, oh, you know, keep giving mama strength. And yeah, and I do think that he does. He really, really does. You know, he's changed my life in so many ways. And I'm so grateful for him and the lessons he's taught me. And a lot of people who aren't lost parent don't understand that, you know, I love talking about him. And this is partly why I've decided to do these podcasts, you know, not just to help other people, but because I love talking about Eli. And obviously now he's nearly 3. No one really asks questions about him now, especially now I've got another child. So yeah, any opportunity to talk about Eli, I'm like all here for it because I just love it. It just makes me feel happy to talk about him, you know, and grateful. So yeah, I'm so blessed to have him in my life. And I didn't think that I'd be at this stage back in the day. I just couldn't ever see a way out, an ending to the pain, you know? But now, rather than being upset, and obviously I get days where I'm just full of like anger and why me? But at the same time, like I wouldn't go back and change his existence. Obviously, I'd go back if he could be alive, 100%. But if someone said to me, you can, you know, forget all your memories and he'd never exist, I couldn't. Because one, he's my son, I love him to pieces. But I'm so grateful to have him in my life, you know, to give me the signs, to carry me through and give me the strength. And yeah, I'm, you know, I've got my own guardian angel, right? So yeah, I'm so grateful for that. He's changed so many lives in his short existence, right? So the amount of things that have been done in his name and that we've done, and he's definitely he's brought me and Dean closer together, for one. And he's just made some amazing changes already. And like, obviously he's not here, right? But all of the stuff I do, it's through him. And I know he gives me the strength to do it all because I'm just so grateful to him. He's really changed our lives. Yes, he's not here. Yes, I would give anything to have him back, and I grieve him and I love him and I miss him so much. But at the same time, the love we receive through him, like I can feel it. Like I can feel him all the time. And yeah, I just think that, you know, of course I'd have him back if I could, but we can't, right? So yeah, he's just amazing, and I'm so blessed and thankful that he's my son, and that he chose me to be his mama, because he's got me through so much and so many bad days. And every time I'm struggling, and I say, ask him to give me strength, he does every time without a doubt. He gets me through. I know he does. But yeah, so he's obviously going to be free soon. So I need to think about his birthday. We what we normally do is do a sand starlight walk. He has a bench at a park local to us, and we've done it since it was there, really. The past 2 years, we've done this starlight walk, just like the close family, like aunts and uncles and stuff. And we walk to his bench from like the entrance of the park. And when we get to his bench, I bring like sparklers and stuff. So we all like have sparklers and the candle bags, like lanterns, and we walk back. And yeah, it is a nice time, but to reflect as well. And then on his actual birthday, what we've done is, for the first year, it was like Lion King. I done like a little Lion King, I say party. It was literally it's just parents and siblings and like the nieces and nephews. But yeah, so we have a little celebration, like I'll make him a cake. So the first year it was Lion King. And I wanted to include like all of his little friends he's made. So I wrote all their names down on like a seeded bunting. And I had like a Lion King bunting up as well. And yeah, and then his second birthday was like Peter Pan. I got it Peter Pan theme. So I like decorated it all. And I think I've got these little leaves, like cut out leaves, and had like all the babies' names, wrote down on them. Yeah, so I do try and make it really special. And then we have fireworks as well, because I just think I'm sure he can see them, right? Yeah, so I need to start thinking about what I'm going to do for his third birthday. What kind of theme to do it. So if you've got any suggestions, send them my way. But yeah, so that's a little bit about Eli. And I'm sure you'll learn a lot more about him in these podcasts. But yeah, thank you so much for listening about Eli. I really appreciate being given the space to just sit here and talk about him and reflect on our time together. So thank you for listening. So yeah, on our next episode, we will be talking about the early grief, the aftermath of your baby dying. So yeah, if you want to listen, hopefully we will see you then.